So here's a big debate about the metaverse, and I'm pretty heavy into the digital space now because I believe, you know, the people think, let's start at Bitcoin, the granddaddy asset, right? Everybody thinks it's a coin. It's not. It's software. It's software, and software that can have a lot of productivity to it in financial services. The issue about the metaverse is this. What is the business model going to be? Let's say I'm a brand like Procter & Gamble or Nike or a huge global brand, and I want to have my own store in the metaverse. I think that's got to be a curated metaverse. So I'm not being set up beside a porn shop, right? I care about what community I'm in. I care about how my brand's represented. I want some control over that. Then there's the unfettered, uncurated version of the metaverse where anything goes, and that's a different version of it. But I don't think that's going to get as many brands to support it. And then you have to ask yourself, is it an advertising model, or is it a transaction model, or is it both? And these are all unknowns. So Web3 is an unknown. You know, we're in the very first innings of Web3, and you got to place a lot of bets out there, a lot of bets. And so I'm investing in all kinds of companies, not knowing which one's going to be successful, no different than Shark Tank. So let's go back to traditional investing. Let's say you're a sovereign wealth fund running $100 billion. That's a small sovereign wealth fund. Here are the rules you'd play by pre-crypto. You'd be no more than 20% in any one sector of the economy. And in our economy, we have 11 sectors, okay? So energy is a sector, so no more than 20% in energy. And then within a sector, no more than 5% in any one stock. That's diversification. That's how it was played. Now, I believe that in the next decade, crypto, blockchain, and all of the productivity that provides will become the 12th sector of the economy. And so there will be many companies that service that 12th sector, but I'm investing according to that kind of metric. I've put 20% of our operating company's portfolio into crypto across 32 different positions.
Wow.
And so I own a lot of different things: Polygon, Helium, Pollen, Solana, you know, Ethereum, Bitcoin, yada, 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 all, and on, not knowing which is going to survive, because I don't know. But if you have enough diversification, you only need one or two to work, and then you're in good shape. And that's the way I think you got to think about crypto. It's just software. These are software developers. There's nothing magical about it. But the reason you should care is that the productivity that it's going to provide. Let's just take, for example, USDC, stablecoin. Yesterday, Circle, the company that issues USDC, closed a deal, first time ever, with Fidelity and BlackRock for $400 million. Those are the most conservative money managers on earth. What are they doing giving $400 million to Circle? Because they figured out that as a payment system, it's far more efficient than transferring between banks, which sucks. It takes days to move money between countries. Sometimes it gets lost. This would all be eradicated with something like USDC pegged to the US dollar. You've got the Senate. You've got Senator Loomis, or you've got Toomey and Haggerty all putting bills forward to support these initiatives. So you got policy coming. I think Fidelity and BlackRock saw the policy, talked to the senators, said, okay, this is going to become legal one day. We want to get ahead of it. And already in stable coins, there's $120 billion right now. And that's before it becomes regulated. So there's a lot of stuff happening here. I'm a big investor. You know, I use Circle. I use the products. Why? Because I can make 4% interest by lending it out with a 30-day note. That makes sense to me. I can't do that in a bank. I'm going to make 40 basis points, and inflation's 6, so I'm losing money putting money in a bank.
Let's talk about inflation a little bit.
Real quick, what's a greater risk asset? Cryptocurrency or NFTs?
That's a great question. I would say there's two types of NFTs, okay? NFTs that are tied to physical assets. Let me give you an example. Here's a watch. I'm a huge watch collector, okay? This is an FP Journe. How do I know it's real? How do I know it's not fake? Rolexes knocked off like crazy. How do I know that? That's NAP. How do I know it's real? If that had an NFT associated with it, with the authenticated papers, an image of the box, the serial number, the caliber, and a high-scanned image of the dial, which has tiny imperfections in it, the fingerprint of it, I wouldn't have to get that authenticated if I bought it from you. You just show me the NFT, I'd rescan the watch. Yeah, it's the original watch. Sure, it's going to have some patina on it, but that NFT is extremely valuable because it represents the physical asset. Now, a lazy ape, I don't know.
Yeah.
right?
Because I see people doing it now with homes now. They're doing NFTs with homes and actual products,
Yeah,
which seems more sensible than, like you said, a lazy eight.
exactly. So I think you're going to have the scammers in a new space like this. There's no policy. If an NFT has utility, let's say you're getting an NFT and you get tickets to the Formula One race, that sounds like a security to me because it's got something of value associated with it, almost like a dividend. So if you're getting a royalty or something, I think that at some point the regulator is going to say, look, that's a security. You got to have a prospectus with it. But regulation's not a bad thing, and I'll tell you why. Right now, I work in the indexing space for sovereign wealth funds and pension plans. So when they want to design an index, let's say they're an oil-rich country and they want to invest in the S&P, they say, give me the S&P, X oil, and X airlines. I don't want to own any airlines or oil stocks because we already got all the oil we need. So we indexers like me do that for them. They do not own any crypto, zero. And yet they're running hundreds of billions of dollars. If they were allowed to buy Bitcoin, they'd put a 1% weighting in it. Then you'd start to see the value of crypto go up because there'd always be a market bid for it. Right now, there's no bid. There's no institution. It's just everybody thinks, oh, crypto's fantastic. Nobody owns Bitcoin. The truth is most investors don't own it. There's only 800 billion of it, which, by the way, is nothing in financial services. You got to start talking about $5, $6, $7, $8 trillion. You got to get to 12 trillion. And the only way you're going to get that is if it becomes an institutional product.
I was asking before, you mentioned inflation and interest rates. So what are your thoughts on the fact that interest rates are shooting through the roof right now as far as mortgage rates, car loans, and bank loans right now, and inflation? How does that affect what's going on in the next couple of years?
Well, the two biggest moves in inflation are self-inflicted wounds. One is energy costs, $4, $5, $6 gallon of oil or of gas. We did that to ourselves. We shut down all the production. That was not smart. I think we figured that out. We're going to have to solve for that real fast because, if you're looking at the midterm elections, this is a political issue now. In addition to that, food prices, so protein like chicken or, fish or any of that, they're up 30, 40, 50%. That's because supply chain's broken. We can't get stuff from one port to another. Even now, it's still broken. And so half of this stuff will be tempered as the economy gets back in. I think half the inflation is kind of permanent, but half is supply chain. So I think things are going to be okay. I think inflation in the back end of the year will probably settle back down from 8% down to maybe 5%, which would be good. The Fed's going to raise another 50 basis points twice at least. So we're going to get up to 3, 4% real cost of money, and it'll balance itself out. I don't see a disaster coming because this cycle we are in full employment. We have everybody working. You try and hire somebody right here in New York at a restaurant, forget about it. You can't get anybody to work because they don't want to or they already have a job. So, we're in a funky place right now.